Silvio Guerra, Investor Relations Director at Localiza. Many congratulations on entry to the World Finance 100.
Thank you very much, Nick. It's a pleasure for Localiza Rent-A-Car to be here at the London Stock Exchange receiving this award. Thank you very much.
Let's begin with your recent financial performance. What were your 2010 results?
Well, by being the largest car rental company in South America, Localiza presented a growth of 37% on our revenues, 38% on our EBITDA, and 115% increase in our net profits. It was a very good year, and Brazil is undergoing a very good time in terms of perspectives, with the World Cup, the Olympic Games coming in, the number of real estate construction in Brazil, and the infrastructure works that are being done in the country, including the pre-salt exploration by Petrobras.
And what are the highlights for your investors?
Well, in regards to the highlights for investors, I would mention some, like the corporate governance. Localiza was elected twice the best Brazilian company in corporate governance by Capital Aberto magazine. We were the only retail Brazilian company elected by Goldman Sachs under the first report of the BRICS, the Nifty 50 report. Brazil, India, Russia, and China. They elected 50 companies from developing markets, 10 from Brazil, and the only retail company from Brazil was Localiza. And we are one of the 7th most liquid shares in Brazil, and we trade around $10 million per day.
As you've mentioned, Localiza is the leader in the car rental industry in Brazil and now all of Latin America. How did you achieve that success?
Well, Localiza started with 6 used Beetles bought on credit, and we started in Belo Horizonte and increased our expansion by going out through the northeast part of Brazil. And we developed these markets in the northeast part of Brazil, and when we arrived in Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, we were already the leaders of the market. In 1982, we started franchising our operations for Brazil. And in the early 90s, we started our used car sale division, selling cars directly to final consumers. Also, in the early 90s, we started to franchising abroad. That's why we are based in Brazil, plus other countries in South America. And in 1997, Localiza started its fleet rental division, Total Fleet, and which together represented for us the current existing integrated business platform, setting up together 4 different businesses: car rental, fleet rental, franchising, and used car sales. This integrated business platform is unique in the world for car rental companies because it sets up together the 4 different divisions under the same integrated business platform. And we think this is one of the most important things that we have achieved, this integrated business platform.
Localiza's management model is very interesting. How would you describe it?
Well, I would say that we have an integrated business platform with 4 different businesses, and they are set up together to create synergy, economies of scale, bargaining power, and this brings a lot of advantage to Localiza. In overall terms, the management model can be summarized as a planning and execution model based on meritocracy. So we set the planning for the current year and 3 years ahead, but also we set up contracts, performance contracts with each employee of the company. And we have a meritocracy model that allowed them to get not only the fixed remuneration, but also the variable compensation, a profit sharing scheme, and a stock option plan. This means that we have, out of the 4,500 employees, around 400 of them hold stock from Localiza. We believe the stock options increase the commitment of the employees by aligning the interests long-term from the employees and the owners and the stockholders.
Looking back to the 2008 crisis, how did Localiza adapt?
Well, Localiza is a company that does asset management. So we buy an asset, we raise funds, we buy an asset, we rent this asset, and we sell this asset at the end. And this asset, in our case, is a very flexible asset, very liquid asset, which are cars, fit to the Brazilian consumer. And this allowed us to face the crisis of at the end of 2008, beginning 2009, by selling those cars while we keep an eye on watching if the crisis would prevail or not. By selling those cars in advance, we generated 3 times more cash in the first half of 2009. And this allowed us in the first half of 2009 to prepay in February of 2009 all the remaining debt for 2009. So this flexibility of the asset allowed us to face crisis, and it's an interesting model because it's flexible. If GDP goes up and we are growing very fast, we are able to buy more cars and face this growth. If GDP is not growing, it's going down, the flexibility of the model allows us to sell cars and not buy cars. So it's an interesting model to face either periods of depression and also periods of high growth, which is the current pattern of Brazil.
Why is Localiza focused on South America? How does that benefit your business?
Well, in overall terms, Localiza is dedicated to South America because of the high patterns of growth of most of the countries in that region. We keep a focus on Brazil because of the large amount of investments, the hike in the mid class in Brazil, the income and consumption that is growing, but also the consolidation and the total potential of the outsourcing market for fleet rental in the country.
Finally, how do you keep a competitive edge in the 8 countries you operate in?
Well, Localiza operates doing and specializes itself in doing the same thing for the last 38 years. We raise funds, we buy cars, we rent cars, and we sell those cars. And we have competitive advantages in each of the links of the chain. For fundraising, we are rated investment grade by Fitch, so we raise money at lower cost than our competitors. In terms of buying cars, we buy around 2.8% of the cars of the 3 largest manufacturers in Brazil, and last year we bought around 2.5% of all cars being sold in the country. For the renting the cars, we have the 47th most valuable brand in Brazil. We have an extensive network, and we are larger than the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th competitors combined in terms of number of locations. So we have built a brand awareness for renting cars. And by using these locations, we are able to practice revenue management that allow us to compete in every city and to take advantage of the network to have a little bit higher rental revenue per day than our competitors. And for selling our cars, we do not sell our cars through auctions, neither through dealerships, because we would lose a little bit more of money. So we decided to have our own car resale network that today includes 55 locations where we sell our cars directly to final consumers. We think this model, including the 4 links of the chain, and by having competitive advantages in each of the links, allow Localiza to every day to become more competitive, and bringing us more competitive, we are able to do a better price, increasing our market share and gain market share, which brings us to the virtuous circle.
Silvio Guerra, thank you.
Thank you.